I've got to go to young Daniel first because this collapse is becoming embarrassing. You're at risk of you're not making Champions League, but you may not even make the Europa League. Newcastle and Chelsea are hunting you down. What's going wrong at your club right now that led to such an embarrassing defeat today?
Where it comes to where we're gonna finish at the end of the league, at the end of the season, I think we deserve Europa League. I don't think we've played it well enough to deserve Champions League, and Aston Villa have, so they deserve it over us. And I'm happy to be in the Europa League next season. I think that's where we should be in terms of our performances. In terms of this game by itself, I think Ange Postecoglou made mistakes. Ange Postecoglou. If you look at that midfield, when I saw a starting lineup before the game, I knew we weren't gonna win this game. We need some type of creativity in this team. We went with Pape Mate Sarr, Bissouma, and Bentancur. I like all three of them, and I think they're great midfielders. But you need some type of creativity in that team. Nothing. As soon as we brought on Madison, as soon as we brought on Lo Celso, we started creating way more chances, and we got right back into the game. Richarlison's another one. I think we were calling out for Richarlison at halftime. You had to realize that Son wasn't doing anything, and our wingers weren't going to do anything. It was time for a change. It was time to bring on Richarlison, put Son on the wing. I think he did it. He did that well, but he did it way too late. You could acknowledge that should have been done in the halftime. So I completely back Ange Postecoglou, but today in particular, he made way too many mistakes. And at the end of the day, that's what cost us our game. When it comes to Emerson Royal, I don't know what to say about this guy. Last season I went on way too many rants about this guy, and I thought finally when we brought in Pedro Porro, I wouldn't have to say nothing about him again. No, now we're seeing him from the left. Mo Salah took him on an absolute vacation today. I don't know what he was doing on that first goal. He didn't even turn around to look at him. He just expects, oh yeah, he's just going to stay back there. No, that's not how you defend. That's not how you defend. He loses his man, and that's 1-0. I actually believe if we had somebody more competent than Emerson Royal, it would have been a lot closer of a game today. But yeah, at the end of the day, we didn't deserve to win this game, and the final score shows the performance that we put in.
I understand that for today's game, but it's 4 defeats on the bounce now, and you've been outclassed in all those games. You're dropping like a stone. What do you put this down to, young Daniel? Also, since your first defeat of the season, your form in that point puts you 10th in the league table. You've actually been awful, really, for the better part of 25 games now, based on the opening standard that you set. Why do you think Spurs have collapsed so much overall? What's going wrong at your club?
I mean, we've fallen off. We've fallen off completely. And I think a lot of it does have to do with a lot of Tottenham fans are not going to like that I'm going to say this, but new manager bounce, beginning of the season, the hype that was building around our club, it was a lot of hype. I bought into it as well a little bit. We've been brought down back to earth, and this is the team right now. This is the level of the team right now. We have to improve in the summer. This is the team. This is the level of the players that we have on the pitch, and we have no squad depth. A few players go out injured, and we bring in bums like Emerson Royal. We bring in bums like Ben Davies. We bring in the beginning of the season, we're bringing on bums like Eric Dyer, and at the end of the day, that's what cost us a lot of points. But that's not an excuse, because also the players that start in the starting 11 are also been costing us points. So at the end of the day, summer we just go in and we rebuild, not rebuild completely, but some players have to go, some players have to come in, and we change up everything. And I think next season we'll be seeing a lot better Tottenham Hotspur than we've seen at the end of the season.
Would you put any of this on your manager's system? Do you think Big Ange has been found out? Do you think the way you play has been exposed now for the past, at least the last 5 or 6 games, but overall by Premier League managers and coaches? Do you think he's been found out?
I don't think he's been found out. I think definitely teams have been more adjusted to the way that we play. Teams have been able to find out, okay, in the beginning of the season, they didn't know what they were going to expect. And now they kind of know what to expect. Okay, he's going to have a high line. Maybe we could break past the high line. But I don't think it's broken, because we still see Tottenham have possession. In the first half, we had a lot of possession. But the problem is that we're not doing nothing with it. Our wingers aren't doing anything. We're playing outside the box a lot, but when nobody has the balls to take the ball and break the line, go into the box. Bissouma, I don't know what's happened to him. First 10 games of the season, the guy wanted to break every single line in front of him. You break past midfield. Now he's like scared to do it. He's scared to do it now. And I think, yes, it does have to do partially that teams have figured out the way that we play and they're more like used to it and stuff. But I don't think it has to do completely. I think if we get like competent wingers, that have the ball to go into the box, to have the ball to cut inside, to challenge fullbacks, I think we would be seeing a lot better position at the end of the season than we are right now. I don't think it has to do with teams.
What's interesting about players is this, and you learn this in life, whether it's about sport, business, school, whatever it may be, is it's hard work being good. whatever you're good at in life, it's very hard to be good at something. You may have natural talent, but when you have to work your backside off to play as well as Basuma did at the beginning of the season. I'm using him as an example. So you have to work hard your whole life to get to that level. And then you have to work your backside off in training all week. And you have to work your backside off during games all day, all for the whole 90 minutes to perform at that level. The hardest part is continuing to work at that rate. And you see that through every aspect of professional life, because most people have the competency to do good jobs in most professions. But what the vast majority lack is the stomach or the literal stamina. There's a lot of it's stamina of the mind to continue pushing themselves to that level, because it's hard work. And I feel like some of your players, and Basuma may be a standout example, I think he's happy to be a really good player where the expectation is low in mid-table. But when the expectation is you've got to be a 7.5, 8 out of 10 every single week, I don't know if he has the stomach and mentality to be that. He's got the talent to be that good because we've seen it. But the consistency for me stems more from your mentality and your physical attributes than it does your ability. And I think some of your players lack the stomach to maintain high standards.
I agree with
But
you.
why when I was saying that at the start of the season, I was laughed at? That's the thing that I just don't get. Everything Dan just said, I was saying, calm down, Dan, because this football lesson for you. Everything Dan just said, I was saying in August, September, October, November. Why do people, sometimes Dan was living the moment. He was very happy the way Spurs were playing, but we called all this shit. I think the fact that Dan is coming here talking about Emerson Royale is laughable, to be honest with you, because your best players are the ones underperforming. Son got pocketed by Trent today. Why don't you talk about that? Kulusevski was anonymous and got 1 second. Kulusevski was anonymous. Your midfield, our midfield was really open. Actually, not Kulusevski. I take that back. I actually think he was your best player, to be fair. But anyway, your midfield was dead as well. Your midfield was dead. Even our midfield, the only time that really your midfield started showing up was when we took off both Endo and McAllister, who were the only really defensive type of players that we had, to be honest with you. So everything that we tell you guys in August, you come back and you say the same stuff, in May when it's all said and done. This game was looked at by you as a game that could decide the title for Tottenham Hotspur. Where you were one of the people at the start of the season that were saying Spurs could win the league. The reality is, even the scoreline flatters you, because this could have been, you could have lost, to be honest with you. Could have been 6-0, 7-0. I mean, Mo Salah had an embarrassing miss, to be honest with you. Nunez missed chances, as per usual, the usual suspects. So you were lucky that it even ended 4-2. This could have been 7 or 8, to be honest with you. And when you say Ange hasn't been found out, they've just adjusted to it. Ange has definitely been found out. And the same, you have to keep the same energy. If when you're on top of the world, you want to say all that wild shit about your manager, now that it's fallen off, why don't you keep the same energy instead of saying stuff like, oh yeah, the teams have just adjusted to us. At the end of the day, there's no difference between Ange Postecoglou and Brendan Rodgers. There's no difference between Ange Postecoglou and Roberto Di Zerbi. Actually, Di Zerbi is doing it with much worse players. Chelsea in a crisis are 6 points behind Tottenham Hotspur. Chelsea, that 3/4 of their fan base come here and go like, "Poch out, get him out of my club." They're only 6 points behind manager of the season, Ange Postecoglou, with an average age of 13. Like, Dan, you're older than some of the Chelsea players, and there's only 6 points behind you. You know how embarrassing that is? I just want to give a shout, just to unpack it a little bit, before we continue the Spurs thing. Mo Salah becomes the first player, Premier League history, 3 years consecutively, 10 goals, 10 assists. That's why I won't sell him, despite of the miss today. I'm never going to sell that guy before I sell the others. Darwin Nunez is the only guy that can come on for 10 minutes and raise your blood pressure unnecessarily. That guy is there's no difference between signing him and signing Usain Bolt. I'm not even going to say anything about that guy. Just run fast and born offside as well. So, I was actually happy with everyone's performance today. I thought Kwanzaa had a good game. Liverpool played really well. But from a Spurs perspective, next time Spurs do really well, and I call them imposters, don't call me obsessed. Don't say I have an agenda against Spurs. No, they are imposters. And if Spurs finish outside the Europa League, of what Terry was saying, and they finish in Conference League positions, then there's going to be extremely uncomfortable conversations about this manager and this team and these players. Is Maddison still better than Odegaard? Is Van de Ven still the signing of the season? Is Porro still the best right back? Who told you all that Vicario is the Simon Mignolet of this league? Who said it? Who said it first? Who came on this channel specifically and said Vicario, there's no difference between him and Simon Mignolet at Sunderland? That header from Mo Salah, Mo could have saved it. Mo from the panel could have saved it. He could have saved it if he was the Spurs goalkeeper. This guy, being a good goalkeeper does not mean you concede 10 shots and you save 7 of them. That's not called being a good goalkeeper. Being a good goalkeeper has nothing to do with just saving a big percentage of the shots that's aimed at you. They give credit to are now crap, and Daniel wants to come in here and talk about Emerson Royal. We all know Royal is crap anyway. Why did you talk about Son? Why didn't you talk about Madison? Why didn't you talk about Bissouma? Why didn't you talk about Sarr? Talk about Van de Ven. Talk about the actual Vicario. Talk to us about Vicario. Tell me your thoughts on the Vicario.
Van de Ven for me, I think he was good. You're right. I didn't talk about Vicario, but every other point that you brought up,
yeah, mention him instead of Royal. We all know Royal's crap anyway.
I talked about Bissouma. I talked about our midfield being run through. I talked about Son. What are you talking about? I added Royal. You're saying that
Dan, I think what he's saying is you kind of spoke about these players, but not in the way you went after Royal about if he weren't left back, stuff like that. So you dug him out more. Then you mentioned other names that they didn't play well, but then you actually had a go at Emerson Royal. Well, we all know whether it's whoever comes in that left back position is a problem for us because they're just not good enough. So I think it's because you went after Royal rather than the others. Let's be honest, Bissouma's been horrendous for weeks. Shouldn't be in the team, but somehow keeps getting back into it. You're saying, look, with Spurs at the moment, against Arsenal, against Liverpool at times, and against Chelsea, we won the ball so high up, but we are so slow in reacting or doing anything attacking-wise. Teams can get back. Wingers that won't take on their man, won't cut inside. It's absolutely awful from Spurs. I got told, Terry, do you remember when we beat Villa 4-0? I said, okay, we beat Villa 4-0, but there's problems there. If we don't iron it out with the running we've got, we can suffer defeat after defeat after defeat. I got told by everyone on it, you're waffling, you're this, you're that, Alan, you're negative and all that. I was like, okay, we play better against the big teams. Well, we've come up against the big teams at the end of the season, and we've been absolutely smashed by every single one, including Newcastle, who have been in problem after problem, injury after injury. We've also got to go and play Man City at home, where people write, "Oh, please lose, so Arsenal don't win the title." Have some shame. Come on. No, we've been awful for some time, and we've papered over the cracks. We're coming back against Forest earlier in the season, away to Everton. We should have won that, but problem after problem, long ball, we couldn't defend against. We got caught out. We lost points on that. And again, this is why I never signed on to the "we're winning the league in October" thing that everyone was twerking for earlier on in the season. We've got a long way to go. This project or whatever it is under Ange isn't going to get sorted in one season. It's going to take some time. But you can call out poor tactics, the way you set up a team and everything like that in each individual game. Let's look about the midfield three he chose today. Sarr, energy, got stuck in, fantastic. But he also made mistakes because he's immature on the ball and he gave away the ball a lot. Bissouma, who's been missing, we were pretty much playing with 10 men like we have in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And then Bentancur, who, again, too slow in bringing the ball out, getting caught on the ball. So you're bringing in 3 defensive midfielders, not 1 attacking, to try and shore up the defence. Yet you play the exact same way, trying to keep hold of the ball, keep players too high up. And again, that back line with no protection gets absolutely run right. And whether you have an attacking player or not, at one point, there were 16 shots in the game. The 15 previous to the one Spurs had was all Liverpool. And at one point, we had, 57% possession. We had 1 shot, none on target. Liverpool had far less passes, less possession, and had 8 shots and 3 on target, 2 goals. This is the thing we're talking about. It will take time to build a squad, to build a team. But when we have a bit of mild success or 10 games where we go unbeaten, can we not start going, oh, this, that, and the other about Spurs? Can we just relax and give it time to build? Because
Danny, can I give credit
the reason why fans are coming after us is because everyone was saying we're winning the league in October.
I want to give credit to Alan. I really do. Because first of all, big up to Alan, who's been here, win, lose, or draw. I want to ask, where are all the Spurs fans from the start of the season? Because Spurs match reaction used to have, there was like 15 people on this panel. And they were all sat here just, wanking off all the Spurs players. Suddenly, they're all gone. Gone. No one's here. Poor Alan is here when he actually called this realistically from August. He's the one here who has to take the shit for what the other crazy people said, not him. Everything that's been said about these Spurs players, when Alan was telling people, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, they didn't listen. And they were saying all that wild shit. And now we have people coming on in May blaming Royal why they lost the game. Bro, talk about your manager. Talk about your midfield. Talk about your center back.
Why we lost the game.
No. Let me